Oh, I thumbed a ride on that endless stretch of highway, hoping for a quick lift to my brother's. But the trucker who stopped snapped my photo before I even said my name. The wind bit through my thin jacket as I stood on the shoulder of the Trans-Canada Highway just outside Whitewood, Saskatchewan. It was spring 1985, but the chill lingered like a bad memory, the kind that clings to your bones no matter how far you run. I was 17, feeling every bit the runaway I'd become, adopted into a family that never quite fit. My real roots tangled back on the reservation. My adoptive dad had passed from cancer a few years back, leaving a hole that echoed with guilt. I'd argued with him the night before he went into the hospital, words I couldn't take back. Now I was hitchhiking east to Winnipeg, chasing whispers of a brother I hadn't seen since I was a toddler. The sun dipped low, painting the prairie in bruised purples, and the road hummed empty under my boots. Cars zipped by, ignoring my outstretched thumb, until the rumble of a big rig shook the ground. It was a white flat-nosed semi, slowing with a hiss of brakes that sounded like a sigh. The door swung open, and the driver leaned over, mid-40s maybe, with a clean-shaven face and eyes that scanned me like inventory. "Hop in, kid. Where you headed?" His voice was steady, almost friendly, but something in the way he gripped the wheel made my stomach twist. I hoisted my heavy backpack, 75 pounds of clothes, regrets, and a few canned goods, and climbed up, the cab smelling of diesel, stale coffee, and something metallic underneath, like old pennies. He helped with the bag, tossing it into the back with ease that surprised me for his build. "Name's Robert," he said, flashing a smile that didn't crinkle his eyes. I told him Pam and Winnipeg. As I settled in, he pulled out a small camera, Polaroid, the kind that spits out instant pictures, and clicked before I could blink. "What the hell?" I snapped, heart jumping. "Just in case you decide to rip me off," he replied coolly, tucking the photo away. "Gotta have proof for the cops." It felt wrong, but I shrugged it off. Hitchhiking rules. Don't make waves if you want the ride. We pulled back onto the highway, the engine growling like a beast waking up. And I stared out at the flattening landscape, wondering if this was the start of finding my family, or just another dead end. But as the miles blurred, why did that photo keep nagging at me, like a shadow I couldn't shake? The cab was warmer than outside, but an unease settled in, thick as the gathering dark. Robert chatted idly, said he was a long-haul driver, heading south eventually, maybe Florida for a load. His hands were calloused, knuckles scarred, and a dashboard sign caught my eye. "Cash, grass, or ass. No one rides for free." I laughed nervously, but he just glanced over, his expression unreadable. "You got any of those?" he asked, casual as asking for the time. I shook my head. No money, no pot. The implication hung there, but he didn't push, not yet. Instead, he handed me a beer from a cooler behind the seat, the can cold and sweating in my palm. "Relax, Pam. Long road ahead." I sipped, the bitter taste grounding me. But my mind wandered to Dad, how he'd warned me about strangers, his voice rough from chemo. Guilt twisted sharper. If he'd lived, maybe I wouldn't be here, thumbing rides for men like this. We passed a few scattered farms, lights winking out as night swallowed them, and Robert started complaining about his wife back home, how she nagged, how the road was freedom. About 2 hours in, he said, "You look young, like 13. It creeped me out, but I muttered I was 17. Then he patted his lap. "Want to drive? It's easy." Hesitant, I slid over, his thigh warm under me, hands guiding mine on the wheel. The truck swayed slightly, the power thrumming through me, but his breath on my neck felt too close, too hot. Outside, the highway stretched black and empty, no other lights for miles. I slid back to my seat, heart pounding a little faster, and noticed a curtain partitioning the back. Sleeper cab, he called it. "Got everything I need back there," he said with a wink. The beer buzzed in my veins, blurring the edges, but that photo, he'd slipped it into his pocket, kept flashing in my mind, like a warning I couldn't read. And when he pointed to that sign again, his voice dropping low, why did the cab suddenly feel smaller, like a cage closing in? The clock on the dash glowed 2 a.m., the highway a deserted ribbon cutting through nothing. No towns, no cars. Just us and the stars pricking the sky like needle points. Robert's chatter faded, replaced by a heavy silence broken only by the engine's drone and the occasional static burst from his CB radio, voices crackling like ghosts in the ether. He pulled over suddenly, gravel crunching under tires, claiming he needed a break, but his eyes lingered too long. "About that sign," he said, nodding to it. "No free rides." My mouth went dry. No cash, no grass. I knew what was left. Part of me wanted to bolt, but where? Miles from anywhere, dark woods flanking the road like silent watchers. He led me to the back, parting the curtain to reveal a narrow bed, hooks on the walls that I thought were for hanging clothes, chains coiled neatly like sleeping snakes. The air back there was thicker, laced with sweat and something acrid, like fear soaked into the fabric. "Don't worry, Pam," he murmured, his hands gentle at first. I asked for a white towel, to keep things clean, I said, and he obliged, spreading it out. It was consensual, or so I told myself, quick and mechanical, my mind drifting to my brother, to Dad's grave, guilt mixing with the act like poison. Afterward, he lit a cigarette, the smoke curling lazy, and offered me one. "You're tougher than you look," he said, almost admiring. I dressed fast, the towel bunched aside, and we climbed back up front. He started the engine, and for a moment, relief washed over me. We were moving again, Winnipeg closer. The photo peeked from his pocket, my face frozen in that instant climb, eyes wide like a deer in headlights. I dozed fitfully, dreams flickering. Dad's face morphing into Robert's, a camera flashing endless. But as dawn crept in, gray and reluctant, why did those hooks in the back glint in my memory, whispering that safety was just an illusion? We hit a truck stop outside Brandon as the sun rose, the lot dotted with rigs like slumbering giants. Robert parked, stretched, and suggested breakfast. "My treat," he said, voice lighter now. I nodded, hunger gnawing after the long night. Inside the diner, fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, the smell of grease and coffee grounding me. Truckers hunched over plates, murmuring low, and for a second, it felt normal. Ordinary people fueling up for the road. He bought me a sandwich and pop, no strings, and we ate in the cab. "Come with me to Florida," he urged again, insistent this time. "Sun, beaches, better than Winnipeg winters." I shook my head, mentioning my brother, how I planned to stay months, phone home collect. "My dad's a judge," I added, a half-lie from my adoptive stepdad, hoping it carried weight. His face tightened, but he nodded. "Smart girl." Back on the highway, the landscape softened, fields greening, distant hills rolling like breaths. I relaxed a fraction, the night before fading like a bad dream. The CB static popped again, garbled voices mentioning weather ahead, and I glanced at the photo still in his pocket. "Why keep that?" I asked. He smirked. "Memories." As Winnipeg's skyline loomed, relief bloomed. I'd made it, unscathed. He pulled into the bus depot, engine idling. "Don't talk to strangers, Pam," he said, handing me my bag. I hopped down, the door slamming shut, and watched the truck rumble away, exhaust trailing like a farewell. The city buzzed around me, alive and safe. Yet, as I walked toward the phones, why did a chill crawl up my spine? like his eyes were still watching from that photo. Years blurred after that. Winnipeg didn't hold my brother long. He drifted, like me. I bounced between jobs, relationships, the reservation pulling me back with its familiar ache. Dad's death haunted quieter moments. Guilt a shadow that whispered I should have stayed, should have listened. By 2015, I was in Alberta, scrolling Facebook late one night. The screen's glow the only light in my small apartment. A post popped up, some true crime group asking for help IDing a young Indigenous woman in an old Polaroid found in a serial killer's stash. My breath caught. The girl stared back, gray hoodie, eyes half closed, climbing into a truck cab. Me. Heart hammering, I zoomed in. That face, frozen in 1985. Hey, that's me, I muttered to the empty room, but doubt crept in. Was it? Memories flooded. The camera clicked, the sign, the towel. I dug through old boxes, found a faded photo from around then. Same hoodie, same wary eyes, proof. The post linked to Robert Ben Rhodes, the truck stop killer. Articles spilled horrors. His truck a rolling torture chamber, hooks and chains for holding women weeks, raping, killing. Photos of victims, girls like me, hitchhikers vanished on highways. One, Regina Walters, terrified in snapshots before her end, hair shorn, bruises blooming. He'd snapped her too, just like me. Authorities suspected 50 or more, bodies dumped like trash. My escape. Luck, or because I'd mentioned family, a judge, something that made him hesitate. But now sanity wobbled. Had it been consensual, or had I blocked the terror? Dreams shifted that night. Robert's face leering, camera flashing. But in them, the photo came alive. My image screaming silent. And as I dialed the number in the post, why did the room feel colder? Like that cab's curtain parting again. The FBI line crackled, a voice taking my story, promising follow-up. You're lucky, the agent said. Most didn't walk away. I hung up staring at the screen, the photo staring back. Thunderchild called me home after that. The reservation's winds whispering old spirits, but unease followed. Nights I'd wake sweating, hearing truck engines in the distance, CB static hissing names of the dead. Once, in a mirror, I swore the photo reflected, not mine now, but that girl from '85, eyes pleading. Was it grief playing tricks, Dad's ghost stirring guilt, or something unexplainable Rhodes left behind? A symbol, recurring, that damn Polaroid, tucked in my mind like he tucked it away. I'd question reality. Did I really escape, or was this life a delusion? The torture just beginning. Friends dismissed it as trauma, but the false safety of those years shattered. One evening, alone in my trailer, a knock echoed. RCMP, confirming my ID, tying the photo to his film roll next to Regina's. He kept trophies, the officer said. Dread peaked. What if he'd marked me, a soul snagged in his lens? That night, storm raging outside, lightning flashed, and in the window, a silhouette, truck-shaped, headlights piercing like eyes. But as thunder rolled, mimicking an engine's growl, why did the photo in my hand feel warm, like it pulsed with a heartbeat not my own? Isolation pressed in, the prairie vast and swallowing. I barricaded doors, but paranoia bloomed. Every rumble a semi, every stranger Robert's echo. Sanity frayed. Visions of chains, hooks glinting, white towels blood-soaked. Dad appeared in dreams, warning, "You should have listened," his face twisting into Rhodes. The climax hit one midnight, alone with the photo. I lit a match, intending to burn it, erase the hold. Flames licked the edges, my young face melting, but as it curled, a whisper escaped, not wind, but a voice. Memories last. The room spun, reality cracking. Had he implanted something supernatural? A curse through the lens? Or was it my guilt manifesting, loss twisting into horror? I stomped the ashes, breath ragged, but the air thickened, metallic tang returning. Outside, a truck idled, real or hallucination, lights flooding the window. I peeked, white flat nose, door ajar, inviting. Heart seizing, I backed away, but the pull was magnetic, like unfinished business. "Pam," a voice called, faint over static. My brother's? Dad's? No, his. Confrontation surged. I grabbed a knife, stepped out into the cold, approaching the cab. Empty. Or was it? Curtain parted slightly, shadows shifting. I climbed in, knife raised, and there on the dash, fresh Polaroid. Me now, eyes wide. The engine roared to life, door slamming shut. And in that trapped moment, as the truck lurched forward, why did I realize the twist? That I'd never truly escaped. The ride eternal, photo after photo binding me to his highway of the damned. The wheels spun on gravel, but no driver, ghost rig, or my mind's final snap. Visions flashed. Victims' faces, including mine. A gallery of the lost. Guilt crested. Dad's death. Brother's absence. All roads leading back to that thumb out. That click. The truck accelerated, highway blurring. But questions lingered. Was Rhodes dead? Or did his evil linger, snaring souls through symbols like that photo? I screamed, knife useless against the unseen, as the sign glowed, "No one rides for free." Dawn broke, and I awoke in my bed, sweat-drenched, photo ashes scattered. Safe? Or reframed? Perhaps the escape was the illusion. Every year since a loop in his chamber. Unanswered. Did he spare me or claim me slow? The static hums still in quiet nights. If you made it this far, you're braver than most. But some stories don't end when the telling stops. So stay curious, but stay safe. And maybe keep the lights on tonight.